Okay, ma'am, I'll just check it.
If you can face the window. Arjun, are you there? All right, we are going to begin. So this is a session organized by the Faculty of Humanities, SRM University. We have the Department of Political Science out here. They will be discussing a topic that is very important, a fresh, oven-fresh topic, a red-hot topic, something that is very fresh in our minds, something that we've all been engaged with for the last couple of days, and that is the election 2024. So India's election 2024, we've just come out of it, and all of us are still talking about it. We are wondering at the outcome. Is it what we expected, or is it something totally unexpected? Did we expect this party to win or that party to win? And now that we have the results, what exactly do the results indicate? So there are so many questions in our mind, and the answers hopefully will be provided by our colleagues here. So our colleagues are here from the Political Science Department, and let me name them for everybody. Of course, we know everybody out here, but let's see who these people are who will be discussing election 2024 that we have just witnessed. We have first Professor Saroj Malik. Madam, will you unmute yourself, please? Unmute yourself. We have Professor Saroj Malik. She's the senior most faculty member of the Political Science Department. I'm asking you to unmute.
I'm Professor Saroj Malik from the Department of Political Science. Previously, actually, I was in Kurukshetra University. Now I have joined, and the one of the oldest and senior most person in the Department of Political Science. I will
So she's the guiding light. She is the guiding light of the Political Science Department, and she shows the way to all the young faculty that we have here. Next, we have Deepak Tomar. Hi, Deepak. Will you unmute? Yeah. Why don't you
Morning,
tell us
everyone.
about...
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Morning, everyone. My name is Deepak Tomar, and I've been working as assistant professor in the Department of Political Science since 2019. And it has been a great experience working out here and learning so much from all the experienced faculty members in the department, and of course, in the guidance of Manju, ma'am. Thank you.
He's a young man with a lot of energy, and we love having him around. Next, we
Thank you,
have
ma'am.
Pawan Kumar. Pawan Kumar, will you unmute and introduce yourself, please?
Thank you, ma'am. Good morning, everyone. My name is Pawan Kumar, and I have joined the Department of Political Science in October 2022. And it has been a very good experience in SRM.
So this is Pawan Kumar and Mansi. Mansi, so here is Mansi. She's going to unmute herself and introduce herself to everyone.
Good morning, everyone. I am Mansi, working at the Department of Political Science, SRM University, since 2 years now almost. And I would like to say that I am enjoying myself working here, and I have a great colleagues, and I am learning a lot every day. Thank you.
So this is a great bunch of 4 in the Political Science Department, and they are willing to try out new things. They're willing to organize events. They have a lot of zest in them, a lot of vitality. We will see some of it now. We'll see some of it now in this particular discussion. So who are we going to begin with? Who do we begin with? Do we begin with Ma'am Saroj or Deepak?
I am going to start, ma'am, I guess.
Okay, great. So we have Mansi. Yes, Mansi?
Okay, so first of all, I would like to welcome you all again for joining us here for the panel discussion about General Election 2024. So, first of all, I would like to say that it is great when I see a great number of people getting interested in the politics, because it is the first step, to be an active and participant citizen. So I am so happy to see everybody here, and I would like to initiate the discussion, because this general election 2024 has a lot of learnings. A lot of learnings, a lot of changes have happened, and that shows us that we as citizens, the political culture of our country as citizens is getting towards to be a mature one. We were always considered to be the developing one. But now the results, the dynamics, the issues that are coming up, we can say that we are moving towards the mature political culture. So before getting into the actual results, dynamics, and the electoral politics of today, I would like to take you back into the time when we were struggling to transition from subject to citizen. So we are merely 75 years old citizens to say, because before that we were only subjects, either to colonial powers or to various invasions by various powers. Although there have been instances where democratic values, where democratic ideals were practiced in India as well. Despite the fact that Greek is considered to be the hub of the democracy, or the ideas have started taking place from there, but if we see the Indian perspective, we found that in both Vihar and in Vaishali, the republic kingdoms used to be there, and the Vaishali is considered to be the world's first republic. So, seeing that, and there are also evidences and inquiries that are coming forward that say that Chanakya's Arthashastra has also some of the glimpses of the democratic setup. And it has been said that there are evidences that say that in Chanakya's time, Maurya Samrajya's time, there was bicameral legislature, and the people used to go there and put out their opinions, and they had a say in the decision making, basically. Now, after all of that, after the colonial experience and everything, we finally got independence. And after almost 3 years of rigorous, hardworking process of constitution making, we drafted our constitution. And this is surprising to know that the least debated and discussed article was the article about the universal adult franchise. Everybody was on the same page when it was discussed that whether everybody should be granted the right to vote without any discrimination of any class, caste, gender, region, religion, of any of the other identities. So we were granted the right to vote, and also the right to participate and contest for the elections. That was also granted equally to each of the citizens of the country. Immediately after the independence, with the constitution being formulated. Now, right to vote and free and fair elections. So now right to vote has been given. Now, how do we ensure the free and fair election? So Constitution itself has made an autonomous constitutional body, which is called Election Commission of India, which is responsible for the for ensuring the free and fair elections throughout the India. Now, let us come back to the 2024 election and understand why it is important. So, first of all, there are more than 50 countries that are going for elections this year. So, it's not important only domestically, but globally also. Every individual is politically somehow interested and involved. So, this is being called as the election year of the world. So, what is that makes the Indian elections different? What is that, including the USA is going for election, Mexico is going, South Africa is going, but what is the Indian election experience different? That is that Indian election is the longest, it is the largest, and it is the most populous election all over the world. Almost 900 million voters have registered for vote this time. and the voting has been completed in 7 phases. So this is how hardworking and effortless is to make the electoral process work in the Indian country. So when elections happen in India, it becomes a celebration. It becomes a festival of democracy. And there are two events that I would like to quote. I was reading a report that I came across with. One is that there was a forest and only one person was living there. And election commission reached out to that person and put a polling booth for the casting of that particular person's vote. So the one vote, one value, each person has a value in the constitution, in the democracy, is visualized, is practiced in real times. And there was another event that government officials had to trek almost 24 kilometers to a hilly area to ensure the voting process, and they had put a polling booth over there. So this is how makes it different. Different in quantitative aspects. Qualitative, what makes the Indian elections different? There are multiple sections. We know that India is a diverse country. There are sectors, there are communities, there are regions, religions, and there are a lot of indicators and determinants which affect the election process, which affects the voting process in general. Now that makes us to the point that what is voting behavior? Why do people vote? And what are the things that they think while they are going for vote? So in Indian context, the religion, caste, class, they are the general indicators. However, they are not, it is very hard to actually understand what are the voting patterns. And the voting, but political scientists and the behavioral theorists have somehow tried to formalize some kind of general indicators that are always found all across the Indian country. So then there are gender, class, caste, middle class issues, economy, and then power, hierarchy. Everything is centered around the Indian democracy and the electoral process when we see that. Now, what we will discuss in later parts and discuss in detail that how these factors had influenced this general election 2024. I would like to tell about the political socialization now. The voting behavior, there are indicators that affect the voting. Now, what does the electoral process do to voters? How are we maturing as a democracy? How the process of democratization happens? That is being ensured by the political socialization. So elections are not merely a tool for recruiting our political leaders, for recruiting our political officials, but it is also a tool to actually empower the citizens, to actually make their political behaviors, to build their awareness around the political issues. We will all agree with the fact that during the elections, most of us politically engage ourselves in either in the political news or the events or the issues. So electoral timings, the electoral phases becomes a way of socializing people politically about the political news, about the political issues. Now, there are agents of political socialization. There are multiple agents of political socialization, but to decipher it, because political socialization is a process which not takes place at a younger place. It starts from your birth. So the first agent is considered to be the family. It is your family from where you for the first time hear about the politics, either one of them talking or taking a decision or doing something or simply watching. So the political socialization starts from there, and it takes place in your school, with your peer groups, then with the media, with the parties, campaignings, and then with actual electoral process that happens at the end of it. Now, discussing all of this, how this electoral process happens, how parties play a role in influencing the voting behavior, how elections are important for making citizens politically engaged, I would like to discuss a model that has been given by Rudolph and Rudolph, the demand and command policy. He has said that these two models operate within the political state between economy and politics. So he basically bases the economics at the base of taking political decisions by the citizens. He says that in the demand polity, when you consider a state to be a demand polity, the citizens are sovereign there. Citizens have all the power. The state will take action according to the interest of the citizens. And in command polity, the state becomes autonomous. It takes decisions according to their interest, according to their rationale and the power. So he says that during the election time, the demand polity activates, because even if it is for short term, the citizen becomes the sovereign. The people become sovereign. So that is how the demand and command polities work. And it is a very relevant model also to understand the interplay between economy and the politics at length. So he has given this model in the book called In Pursuit of Lakshmi. So saying all of these things, how elections are played and what are the issues that had dominated, I have a figure, I have a data that we need to know, to analyze further, to understand further that what goes wrong in an electoral process and what goes right for what kind of leadership. We are also going to discuss about the leadership in the discussion ahead. So to give the figures specifically, this is our 18th Lok Sabha general election. And I have already told that 900 million voters were registered to vote. However, 65% of the voters turnout to be had been recorded. 65% of them had gone for voting. Election happened in 7 of the phases. And it is also a surprising news that out of 60% or 65% of the voters turnout, it is been recorded that 19 out of 36 state or union territories, women turnout is more than men. So it is clearly indicative of the development of political culture in the women's mindset. And the election was contested for 543 seats, we all know, and 42 political parties contested, or they have got a share in the political system as per Election Commission's data. There are two largest parties that were contesting for elections. One, we all know, BJP, and the other one is Congress. And they have had an alliance called NDA and INDI, NDA National Democratic Alliance, and INDI, Indian National Development Inclusive Alliance. So in this election, BJP has got 240 seats out of the 543, and it has not secured a majority position that it could form the government by itself. Rather, it had to seek the support of the alliance and form the government. So alliance in total has gotten, NDA alliance 292 seats, and the India alliance, which was contesting in opposition to NDA, has got only 232 seats in total. There is another important data that we need to look at, that 726 women contested for elections in this year, and out of them, only 74 women won the seats and became the MP this time. And the results, the highest margin and lowest margin. And there are surprising case studies that we need to understand this time. There are cases where BJP has swept away all the seats, all the constituencies. And there have been cases where the results are opposite, where it has not been able to perform on the expectations. There are cases like UP and Rajasthan and Haryana, where BJP has lost more seats than in the previous general election. And there are states like Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, and Uttarakhand and Himachal, where BJP has got all its constituency in the parliament. So to say the highest margin, there is this candidate, Rakibul Hussain of Congress, who has contested election from Dhubri constituency of Assam. He has won by the margin of almost 10 to 11 lakhs. So he has secured the highest margin of vote. And then the lowest margin has been of the Ravindra Dattam Vaikar, who has contested an election from North Mumbai, and he has only won by 48 seats. So this has been the data, this has been the kind of statics of this general election 2024. And I would like to further call my colleague, Mr. Deepak, to analyze about the newly formed coalition government and the dynamics of 2024 election. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mansi.
Thank you so much,
Meanwhile, all
ma'am.
the people who are, yeah, before we go on to Deepak, let me just tell everybody that keep your questions and comments ready, because once we go round all the four speakers, then we'll have some questions coming up, and let's see how far we can take the discussion. Back to you, Deepak.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. So I'll be sharing my viewpoints on coalition form of government and the general election 2024. As my colleague, Dr. Mansi, has already shared the uh, information regarding the parliamentary system, the electoral process, and she has also shared some of the data, which again brings us to a kind of a discussion wherein we need to know about what is coalition, because there is a terminology which keeps on mongering in this particular general election, and that is alliance. Be it National Democratic Alliance, be it the India Alliance, which we are which we have encountered this particular year. So for that, we need to understand what is a coalition. So see, this coalition is a feature of a parliamentary system. It is a very important and a significant feature of parliamentary system, wherein when no political party reaches the majority mark, so there are alliances that are being formed. So these alliances may be pre-poll alliances, and they may have there might be post-poll alliances that may come across. In this particular general election, that is the 18th Lok Sabha election, we have seen that there are two important alliances wherein we are talking about. Both of these alliances are pre-poll alliances. These are pre-poll alliances. See, but again, there is a discussion in terms of TDP and the other political party JDU, which are considered to be the kingmakers in this particular election. But before that, let us just understand the dynamics of coalition government and how this coalition government has shaped in Indian scenarios since 1947. So this coalition form of government is, if I talk about in context of India, this is a fairly new phenomena at the central level when we compare it with the states, because 1947, post 1947, after the independence, we could see that this phenomena of coalition was very early introduced in the states. In the 1960s, probably in the 1967, we could see that some of the states coming up with coalition form of governments. But as Professor MP Singh says, that at the central level, at the union level, officially coalition form of a government, it basically came into existence after 1980s, in the 1989 election, most likely from the 1989 onwards. Although we also had the Janata Party alliance that was formed, that was an umbrella kind of a umbrella alliance, wherein all the political parties were uh, fighting against the emergency that happened. Okay, and they formed the government. But then, of course, we all know the plight of Janata Party alliance, which basically failed to complete the 5 years tenure. Then in the 1980s, 1990s, we could see many alliances coming up. And these alliances, again, till we have the first NDA alliance, we cannot consider that any of the coalition have been successful at the union levels. It was the first alliance that became successful at the union level. And along with that, see, that was a success in terms of development. That was a success in terms of how the governments or how political parties came together to form the government, and they basically successfully completed their 5 years tenure. Before we analyze the current scenario, it is important for us to understand a very important comparison being done by Professor Bidyut Chakravarti, wherein he basically compares the European scenario and the Indian scenario with respect to the coalition form of governments. Professor Bidyut Chakravarti, a very good political scientist, and he has been working on Indian government and politics. He has given his viewpoints on the coalitions in Europe, where he says that the coalitions in Europe, they are ideologically coherent coalitions. And there is a coalition, these coalitions, they are coalitions of political design. While when he explains the coalition form of a government in Indian scenario, he says that coalitions in India, they are much more focusing on political calculations. These are not ideologically coherent coalitions, they are incoherent coalitions. And in Indian scenario, we are still struggling to find the design for coalition form of governments. So this particular analysis is very important for us to know in terms of the current general elections 2024. Professor Bidyut also adds that in India, we also see or we also experience negative types of coalitions. And these negative coalitions are those types of coalitions which basically works to restrict some other party to come into power. And this is something which we have experienced many a times in Indian politics, be it in the states or at the central level as well. And uh, when we are going to analyze about the general elections 2024, this time we will also focus on this particular aspect. So these negative coalitions, you may consider it to be, see, if Janata Party, if we talk about Janata Party, that was, see, probably it came out of a very important issue. It was a kind of a counter reaction to the emergency. So it will be really difficult to say that it was a negative coalition, but yes, if it is to be explained in terms of the definition that is being given by Vidyut Chakravarti sir, this also falls somewhere very close to a kind of a negative coalition. So when we talk about the general elections 2024, we see that political parties or the India Alliance, first of all, this came into existence in the initial years of 2023 itself, when basically political parties, they were trying to restrict the Modi government to come into power, or they were trying to restrict Bharatiya Janata Party to come into power. So this makes us understand that this is a kind of a negative coalition as explained, because there are political parties, they were all coming into a kind of an alliance wherein they were trying to restrict the current Bharatiya Janata Party to come into power again. Along with that, we also need to understand that the current coalition form of government that is going to be formed most likely in the next few days is also going to revive the spirit of coalition form of government in Indian scenario. So if we try to analyze the general elections 2024, we need to understand that this particular election is very important to understand the essence of democracy. Why? Because the essence of democracy lies in the diversity. And the Indian model, if I talk about it, that we have multi-party system, and the more political parties we have, the more representation we may get. And there might be chances of not getting a clear majority for any single political party. So it is being considered that this coalition form of governments, they are much more democratic in nature. They brings this kind of a model brings in a kind of an essence of a healthy democracy. So this 2024 elections, it revives the spirit of coalition form of a government. And many political scientists, many political analysts, they have started talking about the terms like genuine coalitions or organic coalitions. And even uh, Narendra Modi ji, he is also focusing on putting a kind of a picture that this particular alliance which we are forming, NDA, will be a kind of an organic coalition wherein he is trying to criticize the other alliance. But it is very evident to know that this has brought in a kind of a setback to the current to Bharatiya Janata Party, as Bharatiya Janata Party has lost, it has lost around 63 seats in its strongholds, especially in the northern India. Especially in the northern India, when I'm talking about northern India, it focuses specifically on UP. While Congress, which is the largest party in the India alliance, it has almost doubled its seats. So how is this analysis, or how is this quite significant in terms of knowing about the previous NDA government that was there? So the previous, of course, previous NDA, that was also a coalition. But what dynamics have changed in the current general election? We need to understand that prior to this, the 2019 election, Bharatiya Janata Party, the BJP, it was in a clear majority in itself. It had 303 seats, which basically brought in a kind of a centralized centralizing tendency that could be seen, a slight centralizing tendency that could be seen, wherein it was considered that accommodative nature was something which was missing in the 2019 government. So this particular verdict has overpowered that kind of a centralizing BJP. And it is very interesting to know, and it is very interesting to analyze that how these alliances are going to work in the future. See, the success of these coalitions will be observed only by the process how they are going to nurture these alliances in the future. And nurturing means, it may be really difficult for even the NDA to complete 5-year tenure. And it may be really difficult for the India alliance to uh, be together throughout. Why? Because there are various other dynamics that are also attached to it. What are those dynamics? We need to understand that the kingmakers this time are the two political parties which are from one is the TDP, Telugu Desam Party, from Andhra Pradesh, led by Chandrababu Naidu, and the other political party led by Nitish Kumar, the Chief Minister of Bihar, JDU. These two political parties, they are going to be the kingmakers. Although they have already given their uh, see, they have already shown their faith in the NDA. But again, there has been a history attached with such types of coalitions, such types of conditions, wherein political parties moving from one alliance to the other just to fulfill their motives. And this kind of a horse trading is also a very important characteristics of coalition form of governments. So we need to understand that coalition politics the coalition government that is going to be formed now, it is, if it functions well, it is also going to activate and revitalize the federal structure of the country. The federal aspect will be revitalized again, since both these political parties, both the kingmakers, the TDP and the Janata Dal United, they are advocates of bringing in a kind of an autonomy to the states. And in case if they are focusing on that particular aspect, then probably we may see a much more see essence of the federal kind of a structure in the country. And along with that, we may also see a kind of a shift in gear from the majoritarian identity politics that was there previously. And if this coalition needs to work out, the NDA coalition, it is very important to prioritize on social equality, on the idea of social equality. And this is something which, see, when I was coming across the newspaper of today, I saw, when the NDA having their meeting, and wherein the leader of the house of NDA, Narendra Modi, he emphasized on social equality. He emphasized on this idea, which was something that was missing in the past. We need to understand this particular aspect, and he focused on bringing in a kind of an accommodative approach. So it is going to be crucial. This is with respect to the NDA, the current NDA. But when we discuss about India Alliance is also going to see push the TDP and the Janata Dal United towards their side. And how is this going to be crucial? This is going to be very crucial, because since they are the kingmakers, they may twist the table. They may twist the table, probably, if not today, they may twist the table a year or ahead, or in a year or a two. And in that scenario, this is going to be very important to observe the coming state elections also. The coming state elections are also going to be very important and crucial for the existence of the union government that will be formed now. I am emphasizing on Maharashtra, I am emphasizing on Haryana, which may go to poll in 2024 itself. This is going to bring in a very important aspect in terms of deciding the path of the NDA. Yes, but we need to understand this, that NDA is in majority right now. 292 seats are quite good enough to sail through the entire 5 years tenure. But yes, there will be hurdles. It is not going to be easy for them, and it is also going to pose a lot of challenges to the leadership of Narendra Modi. Since 2014, we have seen that Bharatiya Janata Party have been in a clear majority. It had been in a clear majority, and that majority never brought that kind of a pressure on the leadership. That did not bring in a kind of a pressure on the leadership. There have been small instances, there have been instances of the past wherein, but that did not pose a kind of a challenge in terms of running the government. These are the hurdles. There were hurdles, but they were hurdles that did not bring in a big or a huge kind of a challenge in terms of running the government. There were no such problem. But this time it is going to be crucial. It is going to be very important and significant to observe how the leader like Narendra Modi is going to work in terms of bringing in a kind of a consensus. amongst the NDA, because previously in the 2014 or 2019 there was a very nominal, or I would say notional representation of uh, the alliance partners. But now the alliance partners uh, are going to be much more aggressive in terms of negotiations, much more see uh, in a stronger position. They'll be in a stronger position in terms of negotiating about their demands, and the government that is going to be formed needs to be much more accommodative if they really wish to continue for 5 years tenure. I would also like to lay emphasis on some more important aspects just before the election. The role of Supreme Court has also been very important, because the current Chief Justice of India has been giving verdicts which have been uh, talking about statements like murder of democracy, when I'm talking in terms of in the context of Chandigarh mayor election, where he gave these statements, uh, and the verdicts given by Supreme Court. It also, if not brought in a huge kind of change, but yes, it impacted the general public. It impacted the general public. And yes, of course, the question of EVM, this question of EVM is also very crucial. When political parties kept on talking about uh, uh, the dysfunctioning of EVMs, or manipulation of EVMs, or using the government officials for manipulating the EVMs, that also, these kinds of discussions are now uh, quite silent. So we need to observe, we need to analyze that this, as per my understanding, till now, has been one of the best verdict ever being given in the Indian democracy, or ever being experienced by Indian democracy. And if this works out, this is going to bring in some positive changes. This is going to strengthen the democratic practices of the country, and this is also going to focus on the path of development that is being required, because there will be pressures, and there will be pressures on the government. And how it will be interesting to know how the leadership in the government going to basically handle this kind of a pressure. So with that, I would like to conclude it. I would like to conclude my opinion on this particular uh, topic. I would now hand over uh, the session to Dr. Pawan Kumar.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. So, first of all, I would like to thank Department of Political Science and Manju ma'am for giving me this opportunity to speak on 2024 verdict. Okay, so I think Mansi ma'am and Deepak sir has covered a significant portion of like numerical portion of possible like changes and what had happened in during these elections. So see, I'm going to focus on the fundamental economic issues, the impact which has on these general elections. So see, I think politics is about who gets what, when, and how. And when politics is about who gets what, when, and how, then we need to understand that India is practicing a particular kind of democracy, that is liberal democracy. Okay. And also we have a particular mode of production which have intricate relationship between them, right? So in this context, if you see, what is the voting turnout? It's 65%. Okay, and out of 65%, BJP have got only 38% vote. Okay, so it's majority of them have not voted in the alliance or even the Indic alliance, right? So that is one important point that I want to make. And a second thing, particularly when we talk about this particular verdict, then we need to understand various economic indicators or I would say class issues that has impacted this particular verdict, and these class issues are going to further lead some fundamental transformation. Okay, and in this new coalition politics at the center. Okay, so let me just go through those like economic indicators that were very significant in terms of resulting this verdict in a particular in a very interesting manner. Okay, now see the major issues which have impacted this particular verdict is the primarily the crisis of unemployment and low wages and inadequate livelihoods from self-employment and rising prices of essentials, and these issues were completely, if you look at, were not being paid a sufficient attention during these electoral campaigns. Okay, and there were variations in terms of political campaigns led by different political parties. Okay, now secondly, see, this result of the 2024 Lok Sabha elections is a shock for all of us. Okay, because we were not expecting this kind of verdict, in the sense that we actually mistaken, like we believed a particular narrative that was being formed. Okay, and that was because of the problematic of exit polls, which were continuing the same narrative. Okay, which were cultivated by the ruling party. Okay, now, and that's why these false predictions, okay, were very important in terms of like leading a different kind of explanations about this verdict. Okay, so one main explanation is that the India alliance actually, why have been this particular verdict, what has led this particular verdict to I mean in a particular manner. It is because, see, if you look at India alliance, it has emphasized social justice and the caste census, which were very important crucial issues which have led to like a fundamental change in this particular electoral process. Okay, and if you look at their selection of like, let's say, candidates, their choices of candidates where caste was a major important factor that they kept in mind while choosing the candidate. Okay, and there is a clear message in this particular verdict. And what is this? I mean, the message that, see, there is no doubt that we need to recognize the need for economic issues. Okay, why? Because, see, how UP have like how UP have been like gave a counter narrative, like counter expectations, how UP have produced counter expectations, and that is because the marginalized groups, particularly Dalits communities, they had this fear about the survival of the constitution, which has been very fundamental factor in terms of this particular verdict. And along with this like survival of the constitution, local factors were also very important, which have played a significant role. And as I have already said, that unemployment and persisting low wages and inadequate livelihoods and rising prices of essential were fundamental factors that have actually resulted this verdict in an opposite manner. Okay, or you see, these issues were completely ignored by the ruling party, and you see these issues were ignored both in its policy actions and in the election campaign. Okay, so we need to be very clear that class issues are going to affect in a fundamental and concrete manner. Okay, so all the time you cannot just focus on the emotional politics of the voters. Okay, so emotional politics is not going to work at all if you are not looking at the emotions in relation to class issues of the people. Okay, so this is where the promises made by the opposition alliance, actually, especially by the Congress, have a significant impact on the election result, particularly in the Hindi heartland, such as Uttar Pradesh. Okay, now, what are the possible consequences or impact that will have after this verdict? That is very important. Okay, so see, there will be a fundamental transformation. Okay, so there will be most probably the focus on the justice for youth, women, farmers, workers, as well as the social justice, the issue of social justice. Okay, and these issues, if you look at the manifesto of the Congress party, then you see these issues were very much important. Like they were given a fundamental space in their manifesto, which are necessarily going to which actually implies a major shift in economic policy. Okay, in fact, I would say that, or I mean, which your party or what your party is coming to form the government, these fundamental transformation are going to happen, and the most fundamental shift would be to move back to a framework of human rights, especially the social and economic rights, rather than seeing public goods and services delivery as gifts from the state or supreme leader. Okay, as we have seen the way BJP and other BJP have been projecting these. Okay, and in that sense, this will require these prospects will require two important changes in the economic policy framework. The first is that see, it has to ensure economic justice to people. Okay, and economic justice in the sense that the governments need to expand the right to work through a better funded and more flexible Manrega, as well as it has to ensure that there is this introduction of an urban employment guarantee scheme, and the right to food, which is still a very persistent issue in India. There are around at least, there are at least 100 billion Indians who lacks right to food. Okay, and the right to education, and right to education must be a public delivery rather than expensive and exclusionary private education. Okay, and the last but not the least, right to social security, particularly the governments must be focusing on the universal pension scheme, which might actually enable the conditions for the citizens to enjoy their freedom. Okay, so these were the some important issues that I wanted to highlight. And then another important issue that I would like to speak on is this, that to create job is a fundamental challenge before the government. Okay, it has to address the frustrated aspirations of hundreds and millions of young people, and this must be primary economic goal of whatever government is coming in power. Okay, and to create job, you have to first fulfill all the vacancies, be public. The government vacancies need to be filled, and all public works, including schemes. Workers needs to be regularized. That is one important need. And second important need would be that it has to focus on micro, small, and medium enterprises to create jobs. Since public sector is very small, it's around 4 to 5%. So public sector won't be able to provide a lot of jobs. So it has to focus on micro, small, and medium enterprises, not just big businesses, right? So that is something very important. And see, since I am discussing about class issues, we need to understand, see, be it BJP or Congress, BJP have followed Nojik's anarchian market, where you have minimal government. The government would have no say in the economic activities, whereas Congress follows Rawlsian welfare state, where the state has to have a very fundamental say in the economic activities. Okay, why I said so? Because see, if you look at the new welfareism of the current ruling government, then you will see the accurately that it has described a new branding around welfareism. It's not actually welfareism, but it is a branding. It's a kind of brand that this government has invented, which have been very fundamental in terms of this election. And now the last thing that I would like to point out is that, see, even if NDA is going to form an alliance, there will be a revival of federalism. That would be an important shift. That would be an important change that is likely to happen. There will be a genuine revival of federalism. Okay, and with this, I would like to conclude that, see, this election is very important, and it will actually bring policies for people. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Pawan. So we've had Pawan giving us his point of view. And before that, we had Deepak and Mansi talking about coalition government, talking about the election process. And we move on to Professor Saroj Malik now. Madam, what would you have to say about the current election scene?
Madam, I will be speaking about the leadership impact on the present election. Thank you, ma'am. You have given me the opportunity to share my views with the viewers. My colleague have already explained in detail what is the parliamentary system, then the coalition, how the coalitions are formed, and Pawan Kumar have also mentioned about the economy and its impact in the present election. I will be sharing my views how the leaders affect this election. So in India, we see that election is not only a political activity, rather it is a celebration of the democratic system, where the voters, they exercise their vote, right to vote, and the leaders which they choose, they form the government. So this election is crucial in many sense. How it is crucial that it was done in 7 phases. Thank God that it is very successfully accomplished, and it was in the scorching heat, but it increases the temperature of the leaders as well as of the people. Now the question arises that how much votes they have. There were 2 players in this election, mainly 2 player parties. One is NDA, another is the India. So how much vote they have got, and if we compare them previously, so what were the reasons behind this? So here I will just explain that in 2024 election, NDA that got 293 seats, but the BJP share is 240. In India attained 232 seats and Congress share is 99. Now, what was the scenario in 2019? Then a comparison will come, and what have been the role of the leadership in that, how far it has impacted. So in 2019, NDA got 303 seats. Though there were some alliances, but it has the clear majority. But this time they don't have the clear majority. If we look at the 2019 election, what was the performance of the Congress party at that time? It achieved only 52 seats. Now you see there is a graph of the upward and there is a graph of the downward. What happens there? And there is one more thing, that what was the margin before and what is the margin now? So if we look at the NDA, and the major, our Prime Minister Narendra Modi, so how much percentage was and how much votes he has, by how much margin he has defeated his rival? In 2019, he has defeated his rival by the 4,79,000 votes. This was the margin. In 2024, the margin is 1,52,000. So you see, here we see that what are the factors that impacted and why that popularity graph is going down. And if we look at the another way around, so if we see that Rahul Gandhi, who is the face of the India party, so he went 2 elections this time in 2024, and with a big margin, and margin is around 3,90,030 from Raebareli and 3,64,422 from the Wayanad. So these are the points which initiate us to delve into the matter, that how the graph is going down and how the graph is coming up, where the role of the leadership comes, what went wrong and where. So these are the points which we have to discuss. As far as the leadership aspect are concerned, there are so many theories, like you can say great man theory, then they say that leaders are born and they are not made. There are other theories also, they emphasize many type of the traits. Some says that a leader should be adaptable, he should be alert, ambitious, clear, creative, diplomatic. So, and there are also theories of the Weber who also emphasize that there is a traditional aspect, then there is one is the traditional aspect, another is the manipulative aspect, and then is the situational aspect. So these are, can we put the leadership criteria into a watertight compartment? So it is very difficult. The situational aspect, they emphasize a role, they emphasize, they decide the issue, and these things, they impact the election results. So here I will say that can we put our Prime Minister in that particular mold? So these leadership traits cannot be applied in toto to any particular leader. Rather, they are act in different situations. For example, Prime Minister Modi, he is a seasoned leader. He is having a towering personality, good communication skill. He has unique qualities of taking initiative, and he has a vision as well as a mission. And these things were very much evident in his two regimes. And in the third regime, why that charisma is not working, why that Modi magic has not been workable this time. This is also a million-dollar question. What went wrong and where went wrong? So if we analyze it, that and we analyze the leadership theories aspect, some of the aspect, so the situational aspect and manipulative aspect and the autocratic tendency, they have entered into the arena, or they have impacted the leader. So on another side, we see that Rahul Gandhi, to whom people used to say he is a pappu, he is very immature, and to some extent, he agreed to these things and he tried to make a self-reform, self-introspection, and self-development. He became quite active in the 2020s onward. So here, one thing, it reminds me that when Gandhiji was in South Africa, so when he came to Indian scene, so his political guru, Gopal Krishna Gokhale, asked him that firstly, you have to connect with the people and firstly see the condition. What are the conditions there? So you understand that conditions of the society, and then you start working as and enter into the active politics. And he also, for length and breadth, he traveled the whole country. And after that, the Champaran Satyagraha, then the Bardoli Satyagraha, Mill Satyagraha, these Satyagraha were taken up. And by the unconventional method of the truth, non-violence, Satyagraha, these things were taken. So when I look at the journey of Rahul Gandhi, a leader in the making, that how much he has improved. He traveled, he tried to connect with the people, traveled from Kanyakumari to Kashmir and from Manipur to Bombay. So he has almost covered the whole India. And in the biting cold, he was always seen in a t-shirt. That what was the spirit behind it. And we see how much he has evolved with the passage of time. The situation have made him in that sense. So there is no particular mold by which to fit in a leader into that mold. So that's not there. Rather, the situation they emphasize, and that makes or mark a leader. Moreover, his communication skill have also changed. His body language, his mannerism, and understanding the things that have come. So, and we find that impact in the 2024 election. This is one thing. Another thing is that how India got this much percentage. So it is the youth are the part of this, as my colleague have also mentioned about the Akhilesh Yadav and how they have entered, how they have included the other caste into that, and that scenario worked. And you see, UP was the guard of the BJP party, and there was so much ho-halla about the Ram Mandir and other things, and it was a mega event. But you see what are the seats they are getting. So they have not got that percentage. And on the other hand, in India, they got so much of the percentage. Now, my colleague have also explained that in parliamentary form of government, how the Prime Minister works, and it is there that Prime Minister is one amongst the equals. But in this regime, from 14 to from 19 to 24, what tendency have emerged in the leadership style of our Prime Minister? So he was not accessible to the people. He was not, you can say, even his leaders, they were not able to meet him that frequently as they can meet him earlier. So that is a particular aspect which is very, very important, that it is for the debacle of, or the party is not getting that much of the seats. So this is the another issue. And moreover, they were thinking that they will get very much votes. Though India is a secular state, but the Hindu slogan was very much shouted, and people were fed up with this. And another thing that they used to say that we will get 400 seats, we will get 400 seats. But and even the agencies which are doing exit poll and forecasting the result, they also gave them so much seat. But Yogendra Yadav, the sociologist, he has given the clear picture of that this will be the seats. So many people, they criticize him. So I mean to say that why those factors have not worked in this election. So this is the autocratic tendency, this is the centralization of the system, this is the not connecting with the people. And on the other hand, we see that there is a connecting of the people that is very, very important in the election scenario. So Rahul Gandhi used to take selfies with people, he will meet with the people, used to meet the people, and then he will used to have lunch somewhere, dinner, and he used to travel in a tempo. So like a identification with the masses is the another criteria. So this is how, and this is how they have got the larger number of the votes. Another thing is that he was not accessible to the people. They were just concentrated them into their coterie. Even the minister could not get the time to meet him. So not easily accessible. A aura was created that this is the Modi magic. This is the election was contested on his name. So the Modi guarantee, even in their manifesto, it was that Modi ka guarantee. So these were the things, though he was having a good vision and mission, and many development work were done, but some of the aspect, people thought that if they will get the 400 mark majority, so many aspects will be at stake. Like one thing is that the delimitation aspect. Then another is the feeling of the Dalits among them. They thought that their reservation may be scrapped. Then the farmer issue was also put a nail in their regime. Then issue of the one nation and one state, one election, that was also there. Then changing nature of the constitution. People thought that they will change the constitution if they will come into power. So this will be a blot. These were some of the reasons through which the UP could not get they could not get more seats, which they think that is their house or that is their major. They have a hold there. And the comments on the Muslim, and you see one more thing, that the level of in the speeches, that also very derogatory. Sometimes the word of Mangal Sutra, Machli, and other things. So the speeches which were very, very remarkable in the initial year, their level have gone down during this period. This is also one of the factor which we can see. Then the farmer protest is also there. Was there? They were treated so badly, and atrocities were done on them. The lack of job, another thing. Then, though there were schemes of the Agniveer and Agni Path, they have created job, they have done digital India. Lot of things were done, but sometimes the implementation is not up to that level. One more thing in which we can see in this is that is the role of the press. Beside the three organs, the executive, legislature, and judiciary, the free press is considered the fourth organ of the state. So the press seems to be that it is just owned by the BJP regime. When Rahul Gandhi did his yatra, so nothing was forecasted, nothing was telecasted on the television. It was only the social media where we could see these things. So these are some of the aspects that which are for the debacle of the party. Now they have alliances. My colleague have also explained that the two players, they are with them, and they are seasoned leader of the TDP, and another is by the JDU, Nitish Ji. And in today's newspaper, it was mentioned that their tone and tenor have just softened. They say that they will be moving with the coalition. They will be giving them, it is an organic bond which they emphasize. So you see, from an autocratic to a democratic, will this journey will be very easy, or will he be able to pull on with that? But in coalition, there are always compromises, there is always manipulation, there is always concessions. If they want to maintain the power, they have to go with these aspects. So these are the things, and now they have to bend to the accommodation of the coalition aspect, in which they can demand that they are demanding that speaker post should be given to them. Then the plump portfolios, whether it will be given to them, though they have mentioned that they won't give this type of plump portfolio to them. So let us see what will happen in the future, because further the elections are going on in some of the states. Whether they will do some introspection or whether they will change their way of working, that depends on the time to come. So these things will be decided during those periods. So let us see what will happen and what will be the result. Will it be on this pattern, or will they be improving? And on the other hand, what the other parties, the alliance, India alliance, so how they will be pulling on. So this is the another multimillionaire question. One more thing is there, that in today's politics, the manipulative aspect are taking ground on the cost of the participative, and ethical aspect are to be introduced in that. Then and then some sort of the you can say the society can be changed. If the moral values and if the ethical values are not inculcated, so the things will be very difficult for the future India. In our Indian knowledge system, there is a focus on all-round development of individual. Beside this, the ethical and universal humanism. The Vasudev Kutumbakam is the main aspect of our philosophy of Indian knowledge system. So whether it will be working or our leaders will be emphasizing on these issues, these are the some of the aspects which are done. Thank you very much.
Thank you, madam. That was really very interesting. You have explained very nicely why the results are what they are. Why is it that the leading party lost its popularity so much, and why Rahul Gandhi came up so much in the people's eyes? One major cause, one major reason, as you explain, is the accessibility. Because Rahul Gandhi was accessible to everyone. He made it a point to meet people. He made it a point to befriend the lowest of the low. He took that Bharat Jodo Yatra. He went across on foot from one corner of the country to another. All that did help him some way or the other. Now, we've heard these four speakers giving us their views on the election scene. And I'm sure the audience, the people who are logged in, will also have some questions. So why don't you all come onto the screen? Please switch on your videos if you wish to be part of the discussion. Insaf Rahman, you have raised your hand. Yes, you have something to say. I'm going to unmute you and let's see what you're going to say.
Hello,
Yeah.
am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Hello, ma'am. After this election, there is a question coming that before the India alliance ruling time, when Modi ji is coming first time coming in this at the first time Modi ji is not getting the
1 minute, 1 minute. Are you a student? Please introduce yourself, Rahman.
yes,
आप
okay,
student है?
yes, ma'am. I am
अच्छा,
a student from political science second year, fourth semester.
right. So very nice, very nice. हाँ. तो अब आराम से
Okay,
धीरे-धीरे बोलो.
okay, ma'am. This is the first time that Modi government is not getting the proper majority. BJP is not getting the proper majority, and in this, in making of decisions also, there will be a main equal representation will be with the coalition also. And the thing is that means the Modi government doesn't have previous experience in with the coalition, before the alliance came in with AB Vajpayee. So this is a main thing also. And now the main factors like TDP, right? TDP, the main coalition party, and in them the TDP is having in their manifesto itself, they will support the Muslim. That is there. They will support the Muslim. That way is there. But in the case of BJP's case, they even said in some speeches like that they will abolish the reservation of Muslims. So this will be a issue. This issue will be coming in the with this NDA alliance through this. So I'm saying, hello.
Insaf, do you think matters will improve?
No, I'm saying what no. There will be some issue regarding to this because the TDB is one of the main game changer in this. So one question is coming that how long this will be this stay. The question is coming after this.
I think,
Right.
sir,
If
Deepak,
I can answer this question, okay, Pawan sir,
Deepak,
please.
yes.
I think he is saying that will the BJP would be able to handle the alliance since
Right,
TDP
correct.
is one of the ally and 15% Muslims have voted for TDP. So how BJP doesn't have any experience of handling alliance. So how things would be.
So that's what I previously, in my opinion, told that JDU and TDP, they both have been advocates of autonomy of states. They both have been an advocate of many things which the Bharatiya Janata Party has a different opinion on. be it on consensus, because Bihar was the one who went on with this census on caste grounds. So the question which he has raised is a very pertinent question, but the answer is that you need to understand that in case if this coalition needs to work out, then it needs to work on the ideas and the principle of consensus. Uh, the leader of the house, Narendra Modi, he has himself given a statement yesterday that wherein he talks about this phrase of Sarv Pant Sambhav. That means all sects are equal. So in case if they are going to be accommodative, if they are going to take all the coalition partners together, then definitely they may be successful in completing their 5 years tenure. And in case if they are not going to be accommodative, and if it is not going to work on the ideas of consensus, then there will be problems. So that is why we are saying that these two political parties are going to be the game changers. Thank you. I hope this answers your question, Insaf.
Yes, I think you've explained it very nicely. Thank you, Deepak. We have Dr.
Thank you,
Radha
ma'am.
here. Dr. Radha, would you like to ask any question or do you have any observation?
Good afternoon, everyone.
Louder, please. Louder. Louder.
Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. So I joined very late, but I just wanted to listen the things. And till now, I don't have any question for that.
What is your opinion? You want to say something?
It is obvious result, I can say. People were having some issues with the present government and it was expected. And I think more was expected that it can be a turnaround. It is not so till now. I think Odisha has saved government, in my opinion. Odisha is a big game changer and that has saved government. And that's it. That's it I want to
There is
say.
a quotation. There's a quotation from Tennyson, which our literature faculty would know. The old order changeth, yielding place to new, and the gods fulfill themselves in many ways, lest one good custom should corrupt the world. So change is always welcome. But we have some other faculty members here. Preeti, do you want to add to the discussion or you want to ask a question to any of the speakers? Unmute, please.
A very good afternoon to all. Ma'am, I have a question regarding that. How come there was so much a huge deviation between the exit polls and the actual results? Certainly, there has to be deviation, that is quite obvious. But this time we witnessed quite a huge deviation, and also was it in any way related to the rise and dip in stock market index? Can any
There are
of
two issues. There are two issues that you have raised. Why did the stock market rise and fall, or fall and rise for that matter? And the other is, why is there such a big gap between the exit polls and the final result? Now, which of the speakers today will be able
were
to
they
take up
related?
this question?
And were these two things related?
So who would like to take up this question?
Ma'am, I don't know,
Okay.
but then I will try to answer it. See, I don't know whether I will be able to establish a causal relation between stock market and exit polls. But yes, see, I would answer it in a different manner. Okay, so if you look at the perspective of Karl Marx, so Karl Marx said that capitalism is a closed system. Okay, but whereas if you look at the view of an eminent political economist and economist from India, Professor Prabhat Patnaik, and in his introduction to Communist Manifesto, he said that no, capitalism is not a closed system, rather it is a very much open system. Okay, so accumulation of capital is taking place openly, everyone is seeing. So I think there is this a possible link between like the problematic of exit polls and then the crashing of stock market. And even the opposition leader Rahul Gandhi have asked for a joint parliamentary inquiry into the matter, and he said that this is going to be the biggest scam in the history of stock market. So I think there is this possible link, but till now it is an assumption since it is not being supported by an evidence. So I think there is this link. Yeah.
Well, I would like to add a few more things into it. See, post-liberalization, LPG reforms, most of the governments of the world, they are no more regulators. They are much working as facilitators. So, whenever there will be a formation of the government, whenever there will be any such activity which will be related to democracy, which will be related to the electoral process, it is definitely going to impact the stocks. It is definitely going to somehow impact the market. And but with respect to the exit polls, definitely we need to understand there might be some or the other manipulations. This is again, as Dr. Pawan said, that it might be a kind of an assumption. But yes, in case if there is an assumption, there is a kind of see manipulation with exit polls, probably Election Commission of India would take that into cognizance, because prior to see this, there used to be exit polls immediately after the phases, after one phase gets over. This was something which was sorted by the Election Commission previously. And if that is the case, probably Election Commission may take cognizance of this matter as well.
Ma'am, I want to add one more point. See, this assumption is not an empty signifier. Since if you look at like rallies, public rallies, in which the Prime Minister Modi, Nirmala Sitharaman, who was finance minister, and Amit Shah said, asked people to buy stocks before 4 June. Okay, so I think there is this, there is something between exit polls and stock market. So I wanted to add this one.
So there was this news of recently, if I'm not wrong, yesterday there was this news of heritage food stocks. Heritage food stocks, see, it basically see increased many folds yesterday when TDP joined. When TDP basically gave its consent to join NDA. So this brought in see a lot of hundreds of crores to TDP. Of course, there might be such kinds of see trends that will be seen in in the next coming weeks also. So this is something. This is a part and parcel of the current regimes. In case if we talk about electoral processes.
And plus, I would also like to add something to that only. As you talked about the heritage stock that has grown tremendously, like 2 upper circuits have been put on the heritage stock recently. But I would like to say that narratives and sentiments do affect the stock market. And it is not new in this election that stock markets have reacted in a certain way. Yes, ma'am.
Can you explain what heritage stock is?
It is about Amul's products, I guess. I am not sure, but it is food related stocks,
It's a
and that
private limited, ma'am. It's a private limited
by
which relates with food products in Andhra.
Andhra. So yes, stock market has always reacted to these political, social sentiments, and the only difference this time is that the leadership has commented on it, and that makes a difference, and that we need to like only the inquiry into it will settle this down.
Right. Sunil Ram had a question. I think he had raised his hand. Sunil, will you come back? Yeah. Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
Sunil.
Yes, ma'am.
And so after Sunil, Vanshul. Yeah.
Ma'am, just, first of all, I'll congratulate you all that you have organized this, beautiful, gathering. So, ma'am, my point here, I heard something by Deepak sir, negative coalition. So, I want some comment on that, negative coalition by Deepak sir. So, sir, could you please say something on that? What is this negative coalition? So, this
So,
is
I think he
negative
explained it very
coalitions.
nicely. No, he explained it very nicely. The coalition meant for just defeating one particular party. But
okay.
then all these
Yes.
coalitions are made for
Okay.
that purpose, aren't they, Deepak? That was my question too. Yeah.
Okay.
Tell us, Deepak.
Thank you,
Is
sir.
there a
Could you
negative
just
and
repeat?
positive? And what
Could
is the
you,
difference?
ma'am, can you just repeat the question? So,
The coalition that you talked about, what is the difference between negative coalition and positive coalition?
ma'am, coalitions, as I told you when I was explaining the viewpoints of Professor Vidyut Chakravarti, he basically gave a distinction between European coalitions and the coalitions in Indian scenario. He said that coalitions in Europe are ideologically coherent coalitions. Ideologically coherent coalitions, while in case of India, this is much more to grab majority. This is just
Okay.
a number game. This is just to reach that majority mark. So, if we talk about Europe, they are ideologically much more proximate political parties. They tend to form coalitions. But in Indian scenario, we see that previously NDA, Shiv Sena was a part of NDA, and Shiv Sena and Bharatiya Janata Party, they have been working on the same ideological lines till
Hmm.
now, but
Yeah.
then they somehow they deviated from their ideology, and they have uh, diluted their ideological leanings, and they
Right.
made
Right.
coalition with a centrist party, which was Congress and national
Hmm.
NCP in Maharashtra. So this is a
Hmm.
very important example if we discuss in terms of negative coalitions. uh, uh, Negative coalitions majorly they try to restrict the others to come into power. So this was with respect to how we make distinction between European coalitions and the Indian coalitions.
No, that's a very good example, and I think that answers Sunil's question also.
Yes,
But we
ma'am.
have
Yes, ma'am.
Vanshul here. Vanshul, do you have any
Um,
observation or
yeah,
question?
yeah. So I
Yeah.
just want to ask, like, right now it's all about, just BJP has not gained the majority mark, and still they need the support of the other NDA party. I want to ask, like, once you are talking about the the pre-agreements between the the this parties or like NDAs, like before before
Mhm.
contesting the elections, they agree to give the support, like the JD this one the TDP and this parties are
Mhm.
given. So are they legally bounded to something, or like they have they are free to choose even after breaking that kind of the agreement, or let's say the support, they are free to go with anyone, or there are some foundations to that as well? That's my question.
Well, Vanshul sir, that completely depends on the negotiations of political parties. So if we discuss in terms of feasibility of being in power, TDP and JDU have no other option but to go with Bharatiya Janata Party to be in power for the next 5 years. And we know Bharatiya Janata Party has also been quite significant uh, in terms of that uh, see uh, if how that gathjod wali rajniti, what we
Mhm.
talk about in layman terms. Okay, so they
Mhm.
have been very much significant in terms of such kinds of things, which we have seen in Goa previously, which we have seen even now in Maharashtra, right?
Mhm.
So they know how to tackle such things. And of course, the feasibility with TDP and JDU is to go with Bharatiya Janata Party to form an alliance so that they can remain in power for the next 5 years.
So I
and
want to ask,
also
like,
accommodate
I want to
and
ask
also
is like,
accommodate and try to get their demands fulfilled. Because in India Alliance, it is going to be really difficult. It is going to be really difficult to see, first of all, choose a leader if they go with them. We have seen it in the past, 1977 Morarji Desai government, and then we saw that Janata Party government for 2 years there were two prime ministers, and because of that, entire coalition was scattered, and they could not even complete the 5 years tenure.
I want to ask, like, earlier there was a verbal support that they give, if I talk about before 1990s, there was like a verbal support that they give. Now, is there any change in the process of giving the support before the elections, or is it through an agreement,
Well,
or is
well, well. They for coalitions there are no processes. There is just negotiations. There are no
They,
But
processes.
but
that means there's nothing hard and fast. They can change their mind
part
anytime
Yes,
they have
right.
and cross
their
the law,
verbal
right?
confirmation, and they have done it yesterday only, sir. To answer,
Correct.
yeah, they have done it.
Okay, so if there's anybody else in the audience who wants to chip in, this is the time. Tulika, yes, Tulika, please switch on your video.
Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, so actually, I was just wondering, democracy is a wonderful institution, but there are some incidents in it which really one kind of takes us aback. So what would the August panel would have to say about Amritpal winning as independent candidate from Khadur Sahib in Punjab? And there is another one candidate, Sheikh Abdul Rahman. I think he's got Engineer Rashid, something like that, who won as an independent candidate from Baramulla. And both of these individuals have been booked under various anti-terrorist laws. And in fact, Amritpal is lodged at the moment in Dibrugarh jail in Assam. And from there, he contested the election. So what about this? And what about the people who support such candidates?
And what about Beyan Singh's killer's son? No. What about Beyan Singh's son? Sorry, the guy who killed Indira Gandhi. Would you have anything to say about these people being elected? What does it augur for the future?
Well, I think this is the beauty of democracy, that even someone with such kind of a background, right, is being elected to the member as a member of parliament. But of course, polarization of votes plays a very important role in this
Why
particular
are they
aspect.
allowed to stand for election, Deepak?
Ma'am, with that, basically, in case if we go on to understand about the criminal cases, and if we go on to understand about how, that is why there is a kind of a filing of nomination that takes place, and wherein it is the onus on the election commission to go on with respect to certain kinds of reforms in the system, that in case if such kinds of people they are coming up with not filing their nomination, they need to take strict action to reject it.
And when Mansi started the conversation, when she talked about the entire election procedure, it is so complex, it is so vast, and our population is so unwieldy. Why couldn't they think of a simpler method? I don't understand. So, will one of you be able to explain why a simpler method of election was not taken, was not chosen? And why, when most of the people in India are uneducated, why do we have democracy? These are just questions that come to my mind. See if you have any answers, otherwise, we'll go on to Anuradha, who has a comment.
I think Dr.
Um,
Pawan would be able to answer this question, because he has a different kind of an opinion on altogether on democracy.
Man,
Dr.
I think
Pawan?
that's a very very complex question. But see, broadly speaking, there are two forms of democracies: direct democracy and indirect democracy. Okay, so direct democracy is not feasible to India, since India is a the largest populated country, and direct democracy is possible only in like geographically small countries such as Switzerland, where we have direct democracy. And that's a very simple, I mean, it has a very simple procedure of electing candidates and taking decisions, coming up with policies. But see, Gandhi would say that direct democracy is possible in India. But I think we need to formalize the procedure, how Gandhi is saying. We need to do an inquiry how Gandhi would say about, how Gandhi would bring direct democracy in India. But representational democracy or indirect democracy is feasible to India. And in case of these candidates particularly, see, I think we need to have a different perspective, in the sense that we see, if you restrain the candidates who have criminal cases, then 90 or let's not say 90, but 70% 70% Indian politicians would be out of the parliament. Okay. Now, that is one important point, that see, in a democracy, the process is very important. Process has to be neutral, corruption free, and it has to be transparent. And if the process is transparent, then there could be there could be something. I mean, there could be some outcome, even if these candidates have a few cases against them. And one more thing which I would like to point out. See, politics is key. Okay, so since Amrit Pal is actually in favor of a Khalistani state, right? Now, he knows that, see, you cannot do anything from outside. You have to be inside. Okay, so he wants to become an insider to actually pursue his demands, to fulfill his demands. So that is the beauty of democracy. That a radical person is looking for an insider perspective to fulfill his demand in a democratic manner, not in a violent manner. Okay, so that's how, I mean, that's what I wanted to say.
We need to move on, and we need to close on the. Okay.
To ma'am's
Yes,
question, that why did we choose democracy? The parliamentary system which we chose, when the Constituent Assembly was having discussions on framing the constitution, it was discussed at length that whether we need to go with the presidential form of government or whether we need to go with a parliamentary system, which we were having certain kind of an experience during the British rule as well, the Westministerial model, which we talk about. So presidential system, it brings in a kind of a stability, but with such a huge diversity in India, it is important to have representative form of democracy. And for representative form of democracy, it is important to have a parliamentary system. So that I hope because of that, it brings in much more responsibility and accountability and answerability in the government, rather than just choosing to go with stability. So I hope, ma'am, I was able to answer to your question. One more.
Anuradha has something to say. Vanshul, Anuradha. Anuradha. Yes, Anuradha.
Very good afternoon to all of you. And first of all, I congratulate Political Science Department. From the very beginning, I'm here with this conversation. I like the debate very well. Each and every aspect explained by each one of you was excellent. And my question stands here, like it's related to psychology of power. It has been said very clearly when we study about the psychology of power. When people get power, power corrupts them. And it has been
absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yes. And that has been seen because so many changes have happened in the Indian politics. But still, some of the people still kept on supporting the government which was opposing or which was misusing the power. And my question is also related, like if we see the psychological aspects. In Indian society, many parents lovingly name their kids Papu. And BJP, yes, they name their kids, they name their children. Papu is a very common name, and people lovingly call their kids and they love. But BJP use this particular name in a very negative aspect,
In a
and they
derogatory manner, yes.
and they targeted Rahul Gandhi by saying him Pappu ki kya wo Pappu Prime Minister banega or something like that. So this perspective was very much used, and but I have never seen in any other conversation or any speeches anyone from the Congress party has opposed this. And right now, when I was going through the debate which was given by Professor Saroj Malik, she has very clearly depicted that Rahul Gandhi connected with the people, and similarly he was likely to remain in connect, whereas Mr. Modi, Prime Minister Modi, was not accessible to people. So right now that we are having that kind of government, the opposition is in has majority also. I would like to know what kind of positive changes we are likely to have in future according to your political perspective.
Okay, so what kind of changes do you anticipate with the present election results? I am going to ask Madam Saroj to answer this question and wind up this session.
Yes.
Saroj, Madam, please unmute. Please unmute, Madam.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it okay? In the present scenario, you know, Gandhiji very nicely explained that the satanic civilization, materialistic civilization, it is just eroding our spiritual and the ethical aspect. The basic question is that how to preserve that, and there should be a between the correlation between the false needs and the true needs. We are in the trap of these things in today's society. So first of all, we have to rule ourselves. We have to, you can say, control ourselves, that what we exactly need. And as far as the needs are concerned, so it was also mentioned many times, even by our Vice Chancellor, that demarcate between the needs and the wants. There are some things which are really needed for the society, but wants are unlimited. They can never be, they can never end. So even the leaders, you know, Mahatma Gandhi very nicely said that the leader should know the pulse of the nation, not the purse of the nation. And they should make themselves as the servant of the people, not the master of the people. So this attitude is to be thrown, and people have to learn from this. A leader needs to be morally sound, socially productive, and very vigilant. So
Right.
these are the basic things which I think these are the requirement of society, and in the new education system, new education policy, and our knowledge system have all those roots in all those roots of the knowledge in that. But we are imitating the West. We are not going into our heritage, in our scriptures, and in other things. So getting away
Yes,
from
Madam,
this.
I think we can stop there. We can stop at this point, and we need to close also now. We have
I think you
seen
have
different dimensions, different aspects of the present scenario. And well, I think the political science department is very well informed, and it has educated us a lot on several issues. So I would like to thank them all. Thank you, Madam Malik, Deepak, Pawan, and Mansi, and all the people who joined in, who logged in to listen to this. Now, this has been recorded, and I'll just go through the recording and probably put it up on the Facebook page of Utopia SRM, which is the Facebook page of the humanities department. So with that, thank you very much, and we'll meet again sometime soon.